Well, they're my friends. The other day I was speaking with one of my students, and they said to me, Dan, how did you really get into this? And when you got into it, did you know your market? And how did you work your market to kind of get to where you are? And, it was a question that, I've pondered this idea of what's my market and what do I need to do to get there, and what do I really want to move? Like, if you've followed me any on my blogs or through any of my trainings, you'll realize that I'm very big on, are you going to sell a specific geographical region? Are you going to sell a specific commodity? Not sell yourself as a commodity, but sell a specific commodity. And it's funny because as I started doing this back in 2013, I had, and you'll see in the written blog below, and if you're visiting me on YouTube here, or this kind of standalone video, you go to dandeigan.com and look at the blog, Knowing Your Market and Working It. And, I was at a sales meeting with a client, and for some reason, I'd never really thought of asking a client this question. Nowadays, I know it's a spectacular question to ask any client. But the question was, why is it that you chose me, right? There's a lot of logistics companies out there. There's a lot of brokers. What made me different? And it's interesting because I've actually lost a client with that same question. And I know it sounds crazy, but I got a little overzealous one day when I was dealing with a client. We're going to go for it. We're going to start onboarding. I said, okay, perfect. So the process, before I even started the onboarding process, I said, what I'd really like to do is I'd really like for you to come in and speak to the salespeople that I'm training and help them realize what made you choose me. And the phone just went silent. And she's like, okay, well, you know what? We'll figure that out. I got a few things to do and then I'll call you back. And no joke, I haven't heard from her since. I have called dozens of times. When this happened, so we're talking a good 3.5 years ago that this happened. But right after that, I called dozens of times. Said, okay, just want to finish. I totally scared this person off by being overzealous with the what made you choose me? But this one particular customer said, Dan, I Googled you. And I think in today's marketplace, we got to be crazy if we don't, research who we're going to see and who we're looking at dealing with. Almost everyone has reviews or everyone has comments and, posts on LinkedIn or posts on Facebook or does something. In the world of social media, you could find out things about people that you couldn't find out 15 years ago, right? So I encourage any salesperson watching this video that you definitely take that route where you definitely find out who you're dealing with and, who they are as an individual. Because the big thing is you can land a customer, but is it the customer that is aligned with your values, with your morals, with your ethics, with your business kind of values, right? With your personal values? Because this is a relationship and you get into it and it's like a marriage, right? And it either works or it doesn't. And in the end, you could really, you could be facing an expenditure of a lot of money if the customer says one thing, but their actions do another, right? So, and vice versa. Any manufacturer or customers watching this, same thing. Your logistics company can really, pull a number on you, right? Offer you the world, then all of a sudden not deliver, and all of a sudden you got to pay 3 times as much. We've all been there. But this particular rant and this particular blog is going to be about knowing your market, right? So this woman said to me, she says, I Googled you last night, and I realized you weren't just a salesman. See, in 2010, I started a website called Little Conversations Today. And every really good book I read, I got in touch with the author. I said, I got to interview you because I have questions about this book. And if I have questions about it, I know other people have questions about it. So I was something other than a salesman, okay? Something other than somebody that was just trying to get in their wallet, their business wallet. So it started me on this whole, no, we have to do this. I think every salesperson should have a blog. I think every salesperson should put out a newsletter or some informative piece of information at least every week to their customers, if not every month. If you can't do it every week, whatever, every month will work. But something that really helps your customers understand who you are as an individual, what market you service, why you service it, and how you service it, right? So as we progress through this week, we're going to talk a lot about, knowing your market, knowing what values you have, knowing why you're servicing this market. I mean, are you servicing it from a client perspective, or are you servicing it from a higher level, right? And the higher level that we're talking about is level there. Let me just pull this down and see if that helps a bit. The higher level we're talking about is the level where these customers, it's not just about the product. It's about servicing their clients. You know, I often say I'm in automotive, I'm in a little bit of residential, industrial, and I say, you know, anytime I move automotive parts from plant to plant, I'm helping facilitate that individual buying their first car. You know, anytime I move countertops or stone from place to place, I'm helping facilitate that couple or that individual that saved 10 grand to do their basement or 10 grand to do their bathroom. I'm helping facilitate their dreams. So you see, it goes far beyond just the A and B of transportation. Bring it right in knowing your market, bring it right into that other point where you say to yourself, you know, what am I doing for the marketplace to make the marketplace better? Right? It's critical. It's critical. You know, also when you're talking about knowing your marketplace and, you know, knowing your position in the marketplace, where do you stand? Are you a real pro? I mean, a real pro. Or do you just dabble, if you will? You know, what is it that you what is it that you really want to do? Or what do you want to accomplish? Where do you want to be? You know, how do you project the next 3 years or 5 years? What do you think are the big things that are going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years in this industry? And the last question is, what are you doing to run your business like what's going to be the next 3 to 5 years now? Right? You look at a lot of the people, the revolutionists, the people that changed the world, you know? I mean, a lot of people these days talk about Steve Jobs and, you know, how he revolutionized the computers. And he did, because he saw years down the road, I want everybody to have a personal computer in their home. And everybody thought he was crazy because these things are like 15 grand, 20 grand, and only governments can afford them and they're specialized. But he had that vision. You know, Dyson had a vision where everybody could see the dirt that comes up out of their vacuum cleaners and have a vision of a vacuum with better suction that did things better. We already had vacuums for decades. Why would you go and do that? But that was the evolution of the vacuum. What is the evolution of logistics in your mind? And, you know, a couple of key points when you're looking at this, the evolution, really focus on where you got the information, right? Because really a lot of the times the information you get is only as good as the sources that you get it from, right? And secondly, you know, have you verified that information? What benefits will it bring to the marketplace? Not only what benefits will it bring to the marketplace, what challenges will it bring to the marketplace? And start sharing that. And then my last suggestion is start living that business today. Start truly living what that future will be today, because that's what makes you the pioneer of the next evolution. So I hope that this video, quick video, and I mean, by all means, read the blog below. If you're looking at this on YouTube, just look below because there'll be a link to the blog. Until next time, my friends, remember, make every call a learning experience. Enjoy the moment and crush your sales.